extremely lucky Ashford Street. Second and none's driving through on the fence, but Carrickazoo's in front here. Carrickazoo for Neindorf. Second to none, flying late. May have nailed him.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. We're back. Spring is just around the corner and we've had our little winter break. And in studio with me is John Walter. How are you, brother? It's Christmas Eve for some.
The spring's here, mate. We've got the Missile Stakes on Saturday, a time-honoured event that looks like a midweek race. We're straight back into it. We're ready.
You could confuse it for a benchmark 88, but that's just the utter madness that's still
$300,000 Group 2.
with benchmark 88 horses in it. DK and Nico, you guys are in unison. You're in the studio. You're up and about. Welcome back.
I'm up and about. Racing very fresh so far, aren't I, Nico? I haven't shut up since I've been in here. What have we had, 6 weeks off or something? So got here, bloody oath. So, no, great to have the band back together. Been see all my old mate Nico here and you boys. So, how you going, Nico?
Yeah, I'm good. Just keen to get back into it. There didn't feel like spring this morning, but there's a bit of spring in the air down here in Melbourne. There's a few nice horses at the trials and jump outs, and Moonee Valley meeting doesn't have a lot of a spring vibe to it, but the week after at Caulfield's going to be a cracker with the Lawrence and the Vane.
Yeah, that's when it really kicks off, isn't it?
Yeah, we're heating up.
Yeah, there's plenty happening.
You're not heating up, mate. I was there last week. You're not heating up. I promise you that.
Low-key winter on the track and a bit of a slow start to spring, as we just suggested. But off the track, wow, it's definitely game on. We did the special edition of the Rosehill Sale last week, so plenty of people watched that one and enjoyed that. If you haven't seen it, maybe watch it, because tomorrow is round 2 of the parliamentary inquiry into the sale of Rosehill. And wow, the roll call for tomorrow's inquiry is popcorn, choc top, large Coke, probably a couple of Mars bars. You got Peter McGoran, Steve McMahon, Tim Hale, Carolyn Cersei's going to be there, Richie Callender's going to be there, Peter Volandis, Graham Hinton. Boy, oh boy, tomorrow could be the biggest day in racing in New South Wales for quite some time, with that stellar card getting grilled by some...
You remember the medieval days when the court jester would come out and he'd introduce everyone with the big introductions?
Oh, Jesus.
Is that what the 11:35 slot's for?
Not going to touch that one, but absolute fireworks, and it is unmissable. So we'll retweet the link when it gets posted out. It will be played live on YouTube, and I'm expecting some big numbers around people watching that one. It's
and Mark Latham just decided to spice things up, Scooty. Mark Latham to throw a bomb under Volandis in the day or two leading into it. So he's the right bloke to go after Volandis too, because he doesn't give a stuff. Latham, so he'll stay. Volandis, he's a good bloke to take on Volandis, but I thought that'll just spice things up, get Volandis fired up. Hey, what do you reckon, Nico?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting viewing, and you get something similar sort of brewing in Melbourne, don't you, with the sale of Sounddown, which sort of seems to keep popping up its head as well. So
we've got it's not a parliamentary hearing. I think it's just a normal hearing, but they've got that starts in next week, I think, isn't it? Next week, and runs into September. So yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on because that obviously what happens at Rosehill sort of reflects on that probably a bit too, doesn't it? Similar story.
You'd be amazed if they didn't bring advanced integrity and oversight measures into New South Wales that Victoria won't naturally. Probably they'll be federal, won't they? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like the Sandown sale and the track redevelopment of Caulfield is causing a bit of a mutiny. So you had the MRC and the Mornington race clubs merged together. And now there's a big push for Sandown to be saved from perhaps the people down at Mornington, and that's caused a little bit of a shuffle. So it'd be interesting to see. I think the people for keeping Sandown are starting to claw back the numbers and a little bit of strength there. So if you like Sandown, there could be some good news on the horizon. But it's going to be a must-watch space, and so's that saga down at Rosehill. The MRC, there's been some explosive press sort of start to trickle and leak out, and the Labor pains were there for all to see, I guess, on Twitter. Nico and plenty of people that actually attend the races have spoken about it, and so much so that the jockeys have tipped over the edge. They hate the jockeys' room. The mounting yard's been mooted to go back in front of the stand, which just causes all sorts of mayhem with the next stage of their development. And there's talk that they're going to put the mounting yard or shift it back, or try and shift it back before sort of spring starts. Like, it's a complete nightmare and it's a complete mess.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they did that. Just or sort of what I heard, but yeah, I think the main problem is it's half finished. So that's the main issue. You know, he's still got most of the old stuff is still there, and they've sort of tried to incorporate the new. And I've never been in the jockeys room, but obviously there's issues there. Seems quite compact, that space at the end. You have the Racing.com studios, the 7 studio, the winning owners bar, another owners bar. Then there's jockeys room right there as well. So I can see the vision that they're trying to look at and sort of think, you know, when night racing comes in, I think it would be good for that. You could have the food trucks around the yard, things like that. But yeah, there's only really 2 or 3 days a year where they're going to get a proper big crowd, isn't there? So they're probably got to work around that as well. But I think that's the main issue around it. It's just it's not fully finished, and I don't think everyone's on board with seeing the future foresight that they have, because it's hard at the moment because of what's been presented to the jockeys and the public, and people want to look at the yard. It's just it's not 100% at the moment.
Definitely not up to scratch. Interesting. Gill's taking his position at Tabcorp this week, and the first move, or there's been a raft of, sackings and redundancies that have sort of hit a couple of the staff in a various range of positions. But an interesting little article dropped over the last couple of days, and sounds like Tabcorp are going to start shutting down on-course tote facilities at the end of the spring carnival. So, wow, I guess the traditional way of betting is taking a bit of a back seat, and it's an interesting one because it's a genuine edge that they've got over their corporate rivals, and they just can't really maximise that advantage. To me, it's all this stuff sounds like starting to smell like a little bit of a sale. So I'm not sure if Sportsbet from an ACCC and a competition point of view would be allowed to buy it, but maybe Entain could further grow their betting arm by acquiring TAB. But once betting operations and businesses in general start to strip back lots of costs, it's a strong likelihood that they're going to sell.
It's weird. It's like their one competitive advantage they've got is the retail space. Up here, there's no tabs left, basically. You've got EBTs, and I think most of them now, you know, they're cash, no cash, aren't they? You've got to have tickets, so they've got to be manned. Well, I guess they'll be what's on track. It just doesn't, I don't know. It's a weird big decision to make. And if you're saying you're trying to take them on in their own space, you know, they've had 20 years to do that, and they've been well and truly beaten off in that space. So why would you not try and maximise what you've already got? But anyway, yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah,
on Monday I tried to watch some of the Darwin Cup in between a bit of kids' footy training, and then the first 2 pub tabs that I went to were shut on the Monday, and I had to have a schooner down at the Broadbeach Tavern, which is like a super pub tab. But wow, if you got wall-to-wall product everywhere, and on a Monday I can't even get a beer at one of the pubs or just to go watch a race.
Well, cash betting's basically gone. If that happens, cash betting's gone, which is another avenue for your non-recreational punter to get on, which is going to be closed. So it can only do one thing and drop turnover even more.
What do you guys make of Tabcorp and their on-course stuff? Or are you seeing a lot of tabs close in Victoria?
Well, I can understand it. You know, getting the staff out every race course and got to get the cash out there, and it's an operation. You know, just put in the EBTs. I'll put in one staff member there to help them out and maybe provide vouchers, or I don't know how they'll work around that. But yeah, as Rod said, the combination of cash betting's cast and people not the tracks most of the year are ghost towns. You'd think they'd still have a presence on the big days and stuff like that, but EBTs is the way to go. So you just put in the EBTs and very low maintenance, just a bit of a cost cutting exercise, as you said, Scoop. But I read that Brent O'Brien's, he did a run the numbers on the totalisator. I don't know if you saw that on the straight a week or two ago, and it did show on course it broke all the tab turnover. He broke it all up, but on course as just you reckon tab turnover's fallen through the floor on the totalisator parimutuel. The on course aspect of it was just absolutely bottomed out. So I can see why they probably had to look at that. What do you reckon, Nico? You go to the track.
Yeah. I can see why they're doing it. Someone that goes to the track a fair bit, because the lady sits there all day and might only take a few bets, or she's taking the bets from the people who've done it their whole lives. The old fellas that haven't really adapted. So I think that's looking from an outsider looking in, comparing them to Sportsbet and Entain. Tab just seems to like the innovation of those two. They don't seem to have anything, that's really sort of pushing them to grow or anything. And like this is it's them cutting back, isn't it? And the other two just seem to be getting bigger and bigger. So He's got a tough job on his hands, Gil, to sort of get the ship back in the right direction because, it seems like it might be a sinking one at the moment.
That's why you'd love to see a little bit of innovation prior to, handing over your last sort of piece on the chessboard. I would have thought, like Robbie and plenty of people talked about it over the years, that some sort of rebate for betting on track cash and, there's plenty of other things you could potentially try before you sort of throw the towel in, I would have thought. But anyway, here's what it is.
Tommy Lane has poured more fire on the lack of jump outs or not having more official trials and things like that. So, coverage of, I guess, the Pakenham and the Flemington down the backs and all that sort of stuff is a mile behind where they are in New South Wales. So there's an extra cost that Victoria have to figure out how to do or how to manage because obviously turnover and punters is king. And punters have never paid a bigger premium. So it'd be interesting to see how that all fleshes itself out. But the chorus for... the skew-if jump outs is getting louder and louder, and maybe the time's come to change that one up.
To be fair, it has improved out of sight.
I was thinking
in the last 2 or 3 years.
And even once Matt Welch turned his attention to it, and even speaking to him about what he's done with putting cameras and he's got a person employed to do all the results at racing.com. The biggest problem. Yes, the trials is the cost to owners to have everything public trial. The biggest problem, and speaking to him, the biggest problem is that the clubs own all the footage. So he had to get it's proprietary stuff, the agreements. He said that the mountains he had to jump over to deal with Caulfield and Flemington to get them their jump outs off their own pages onto racing.com. He said the negotiations took forever. So so that's one of the main problems, Scott, is that the clubs own the footage. There's a bit, that's just hard to deal with. Obviously, so many entities, of course, but I understand what Frosty's coming from. But anyway. It's a lot better than what it was.
The clubs don't do anything with the footage, and it's actually in their interest, which is so stupid, to actually get it out there so people can bet and wager. It'll only be to the betterment of the sport if they get their hands off it. So it's just, that is the biggest load of red tape garbage. I'm not saying it's you, DK, but the fact that the clubs own it it's just so archaic that, and it's just
then you look at what's
mind-numbing.
happening in New South Wales and you see what the PRAs have over the clubs and how they maybe it's their last little bit of leverage. Who knows how they're trying to use it? Maybe they are trying to use it as leverage. I don't know, but like you've said, it's come so far. The little step to make it sort of official and jazz it up a little bit more can't be that difficult.
Yeah,
but even something like, Scott, I get a horn now when I see. If one of the clubs, like Burren Beat sometimes does it and another, packing them, they put the jockeys on. On the jump outs, you get the jocks. That's a big win. Yep. Seeing the jocks ride them, who's ridden in the right, then the jock, D-Lane's gone there to trial it, then he's on at first start at the races. All right, just little things like that. They can do it. Put the Bendigo, put the race caller in. A couple of them are putting, give Dane Barry's and these the experience. There's stuff the clubs can do, to enhance it themselves. So I'd like to see at least some more of that, please.
A little bit more vigour there. Today's show's going to be a beauty. Donnie is off the long run. He's bloody excited. We've got the Sunshine Coast filling in because Eagle Farmer got their own dramas. He's up and about. Nico Noonan's he's got a bit of a stinger. He's got Moonee Valley. Bit of a lacklustre card, I'd say. I'm not sure where the Essendon Nissan Mackenzie has disappeared from, but I used to think that was the race that used to open up things at the Valley. Where's that gone, Nico? Have I lost my marbles?
I still think it's in a few weeks to come, but they have had a lot of program changes to their... They've sort of moved the fan back. I think the Moya's been moved forward from memory. So they've had a fair few program changes. I think it's just because how long the spring's going. You can't... the Lawrence is next week, and it dead set won't have a good horse in it. Like, they'll be the horses that have been running recently and maybe one sort of Group 2 horse first up because everyone's aiming at the Memsey first up because the spring's so deep. So it's hurting this early part of the spring, and this program at Moonee Valley is still just off-season racing. It's just what it is.
Slower start. A little bit of a U-turn. Lost a soldier last week, Benny from Racing Watch, so one of a good friend of Walt's. We caught up with him for dinner, luckily, when we went down to do the Brizzy stream. 42-year-old bloke. So big condolences from anyone that knew him. He's been in the racing game for a while. He was an employee at Sportsbet. So, tragic loss of life there and bloody sad stuff. So Walt's had a pretty big week, but he's got Randwick to get through on today's show. So he's found a couple of bets. So fingers crossed, a little bit more fortune and good luck and some good news stories sort of happen for Walty Boy, because he's had a bit of a rough week. But big shout out to anyone that knew Ben, because it's 42 is just way too bloody young. On a more positive note, I think DK is the super sire of the Superfish. We're going to start calling him Laurie Lawrence. He'll be starting to pace up and down the pool. You found one here, DK. You're a little fella, Isaac. I haven't got it clipped up. We might show that next week, but he got disqualified in one race, and then he's absolutely pissed in at his second start. Brisbane Olympics.
Yeah, that's his dream. And I think that the Olympics being on now sort of motivated him. So he came out of swimming lessons probably 15 months ago, and his last swimming teacher sort of said, geez, he can spin his arms over, so put him in a few of the afternoon bronze swim squads, and he was ticking along right there. And then this year he just was got in a development squad, and he ran. He ran fourth. He was stiff. He ran fourth in the 100 free in metropolitan Melbourne, and the kid in 11-year-olds, and the kid who won it turned 12 the next day. So if he's not, if the meetings run a day later, Isaac hits the podium in his first ever big meet. So he's got some talent at his scoot. The only problem is I'm feeling like a bit of a horse trainer at the moment. He's in the pool, in the water, 5:30 a.m. 4 mornings a week. So my boy, I'm getting up at 10 to 5 and carting him off, but it means I'm more invested in it, and I'm loving it. It's a lot of correlations to horse racing. The athlete and the training and the times. It's the fine margins in time, as you would have seen at the Olympics, hundredths of a second between winning and losing. It's been great. I love it. But so hopefully we'll keep an eye on him, keep everyone updated. But he's got some talent at it, the young fella. So we'll see how he goes, Scoot.
Could be a new segment of the show, the Superfish segment. Might get Gina Reinhardt to sponsor the show just to prop the good people at Bet Doctor up, because she's not short of a quid.
What a legend
she's
she is, Gina. I was just saying to you, as I was saying to Scoot last night on the message, people want to pot Gina. Like dead set, there's not a coin in swimming, not a bean in it, compared to AFL and all other sports, and we get all these people around the Olympics. Gina nearly funds the whole thing. The top Dolphins contract is $30,000 a year. $30,000 a year. The ruckman at East Keilor gets $30,000 a year in local footy. So but if it wasn't for Gina, and she throws in for the rowing and everything else, like the sport would be cast without her. So long live Gina, and I hope she's around for 2032, and maybe Isaac might be having a tilt. So good on Gina.
God, I should have got him into golf or tennis, DK. What an absolute strip out. I'm fresh off the back of Vietnam. If anyone needs a little bit of an itinerary or cheat sheet with food or anything, slide into my DMs if you're going to go to Vietnam in the next couple of months or next year or whatever. It is absolutely sensational. I'm fresh as, and I'm going to go back to my little happy place. I'm going to do the form at Adelaide, because you've got the Behemoth Stakes, formerly known as the Spring Stakes. That's that 1,200-metre race that they kick their carnival off with. So I think I found one, or I think I found two, and I'm going to bet around the favourite there. Top Sport Steam is back, so we've found 3 bets there. Make sure you get around Top Sport. They've got all the products that the corporates have. They've got same race multi, process payout, Top Fluck, which is a product that not many bookies offer, so you can still get that on the Metropolitan meetings there at Top Sport on a Saturday, and they're Australian-owned and operated, and they support us. All the Olympic markets are there, so they're burning the midnight oil, such as Nick Tedeschi and the boys all about the Olympics. So make sure you head to topsport.com.au and get stuck into that. DK, you're first up here.
First cab off.
And first cab off, we're going to have a look at Geelong Friday, race number 3. It's a McGrath Estate Agents maiden plate, and Happy Link's a favourite here at 260. Henry's Blade 440. Zalotti's, I'll call it, 650. Highlands $8. Schnick 11, and much better the rest. The horse we're going to have a look at here is Happy Link. And I've pulled out, I didn't get the trial of the jump out on his heavy track run, but
right.
He went off $1.75 here, the big bally face thing, and pretty good horse runs past him in Moby Dick.
Ran into Moby Dick, and Moby Dick won like this on debut, and then did it again next start. He covered ground here, and then he went to the paddock after this. So big flashy thing. Greg Urell trained, got the Apache cat, bit of the Apache cat look-alike. It went round odds on there because on debut at Moonee Valley, when it was well fancied, it found the coffin. And no good the coffin around Moonee Valley, and was a moral beat. So it went there, got beat, and resumes here. And I knew it'd sort of be hard in the market because I had those 2 short SPs. And sometimes a lot of the time I try and say, well, that horse is hard in the market because of those SPs more than its form. So I looked to oppose things like that, but I had a look at its trials, and its trials this time have been very good. He trialled it up a bit last time, like really rode it out in the last trial leading into its debut. This time, under a very nice hold, very quiet on it. It's moved really well. What else have I got here? Trials much softer. Yeah, Urel. So I learnt this off Nico, and then I looked at its stats, and because I asked him, what are Urel's horses like first up? What his debutants, because he's a very good striker. He said they're ready to go. He said they're ready to go. He's one camp, they are ready to go fresh. You'll see with his first starters, they're always generally well backed if they're in the market, because he's got one of the best strike rates with first starters in the state, and his fresh first up horses as well. So again, the second thing here, Henry's Blade's got the run under the belt, but Greg's horse will be ready, to be ready to go. So Henry's Blade will come across. He finished alongside Henry's Blade in that Moonee Valley race, but as I said, he was a moral beat. So and had the big SP edge on him there. Henry's draws 9, it'll roll across. Happy Link will park behind it, and I think we might see a handy horse here. I think he'll come back a bit better horse this prep, and I expect him to round it up. I think there's Highlands is exposed, draws the car park. There's Lutos or something, draws the car park. Snick's none from 17. It's a pack animal, it's honest. But I think this horse might be the one on the up, and get going first up in a second prep for GUL. Happy Link. Any thoughts, Nico?
Chips in.
You know this horse?
Yeah, I do know this horse. And I even had a bit of time for Henry's Blade. I think I might have backed him that day at Sandown, and then he came back first up at Geelong, started $2 and got owned by Dan Zia, who looks like a proper horse from the OTI camp. So, the form lines around him are good, but as you said, Happy Link beat him on debut and didn't have anywhere to go in the straight. So I think he probably is a better horse. But Ural, like you said, those horses, they're ready to go from the yard. But yeah, Henry's Blade with Team Hayes, they've gone to a new level. The last 6 months, Team Hayes, they're absolutely killing it. And MD as well, who rides a lot of horses for them, is just going through the roof probably the last, probably 6 weeks. He's just absolutely on fire. So they're definitely ones you don't want to be too hard against, are they? Because they're getting it right, but this is the right horse.
I thought the draw, if the draws were the other way, I probably could have gone the other way. I wouldn't have been so confident. I think the way the race sets up with Henry's having to burn across, and whereas the other way, first up, if Happy Link had to work across and Henry's was able to get the camp on it, then I probably wouldn't be as confident.
Probably could have previewed all the maidens from Geelong. It's a proper meeting.
It's good, isn't it? That's why I said, what have I got? Are they going to be Ballarat synthetic or something? There it is, a beautiful Geelong meeting on the turf with some nice. This time of year, these maidens, as we know, Nico, don't they produce good horses? A lot of the stables set themselves for these Fridays. Danny O'Brien and whatnot, they let those good horses go. So anyway, let's go. Greg Urel.
Yeah, outstanding. So that's Friday, Geelong, race 3, number 9, Happy Link, Luke Curry on board. So take some beating. Moonee Valley on Saturday. I think there's rain forecast tomorrow, but it's not a deluge at all. And race 8 is the first race that Nico likes here for one of his better bets, and he's going to play outside the market. So we fair bit of the market read here. He's going to go wide.
Field.
Yeah, $6 the field in the dominant home products handicap over 1,600. Regal Zeus, $5.50. Angry Skies, $6. Margie's Boys, same quote. Our Empress Zoe, $8.50. McGarton, $9. Rackerman, $9.50. Aspen, Colorado, $12. Spare Coin, Dillian, Regal Palm, all around that $14, $15 mark. And then you got Maximilian Caesar, $18. Whiskey on the Hill, $19. And then much better. The rest of the two horses that Nico likes here is Maximilian Caesar and Whiskey on the Hill. First horse we're going to have a look at is Maximilian Caesar at Caulfield last up.
Yeah, he's dropping a long way in grade from this. He's in the white cap with the blaze and the blue colours. This was a benchmark 100, so he's all the way back to benchmark 74. Showmanship, Jimmy the Bear, clear out. But this seemed like a tough race to really do something in. Those two are really good wet trackers. And he's crossed the line with the Greenfly, Duke de Sessa, even Prince of Elena. They were very competitive in some open class races before that. So I think that form line reads well enough for this. He had some good form overseas. This is the other horse I was interested in, Whiskey on the Hill. I had a bit of time for him from the yard last campaign. I don't think he had everything go his way, but I did like this jump out. He's put under a bit of pressure here, but he's first up over 1,600 metres, so probably rather that he's had a proper hit out. Looks a bit plain to the eye, but then this last 100 metres is definitely where he finds his best, and his work through the line is quite strong. He just keeps improving. I think he's going to be pretty much set to go first up. Moroney has his horses quite fit, as the New Zealand trainers do, and he looks a horse that I think could come to this race, and off what he showed last campaign, he might just improve his second campaign in Australia. So I don't think there's that much in the local horses. Like Margie's Boy's been consistent. He's also in Sydney. Regal Zeus had everything go his way the other day. I probably would have him favourite here. And then McGarton's drawn wide. It just seemed a race that was up for grabs, and these horses have shown good ability overseas. Maximilian Seas has won a few rating 100 races over in Europe, had some form around some group class horses. Dom Sutton, DK, I don't know if you know a lot about Dom, but seems like he
knows what he's
got
doing.
a bit of talent. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to wonder what his strike rate was so far because it seems to be up there. So, he's think. But I just look at that jump out, Nick. I've got a theory. Not a theory, but Mick Moroney's not consistent in his jump outs. He trials them. He trials every horse sort of differently, and sometimes he doesn't show them up. But when I see horses of Moroney's show late strength like that in a jump out and be strong after the line, I reckon they always run well. They always run well off those jump outs. So I don't mind that one with you there.
And the other thing I've found with these two, like there's a few horses here that just got to be cast from their draws. Like Margie's Boy's drawn 12, McGarton's drawn 17. A few of the key chances are.
That's right. We've got to remember we're back at the Valley.
We're
back at the Valley.
Exactly. So I think you want to be
not the big spacious Flemington or whatever.
Defaulting to those horses potentially. We're on a Thursday morning. Come race time, it could be different, but I think defaulting those horses that could get the right runs. And yeah, Maximilian Caesar's one of them who showed a lot of speed last start. Just got pulling a little bit, but I think he can definitely improve off that, coming way back in grade. And then Whiskey on the Hill. So two at a bit of a price. Could even entertain Dillian, who's got a bit of ability first up if he was forward enough from the yard. But I'll have something small on Whiskey on the Hill and Maximilian Caesar in an open race. But I think they got good enough ability to be doing something there.
Moonee Valley race 8, numbers 1 and 11. Good start, Nico, and concur. Not many horses going places there, so a bit of a chook raffle. Race 9 at Moonee Valley is the next one, the Drummond Golf Handicap over 1,200. Wollenda is the favourite here, 440 in from 5. Extra 2, 550. Ledio 10, 650. Waiwari $8. Pioneer River $8.50. Home Rule $9. And then Dubai Poet $11. Horse you like here is Wollenda. And here he is at Caulfield last time.
Yeah, he's got a few tricks, this horse. He's in the the light blue colours, coming second widest in the straight. And he did this last start as well at Flemington. Just wants to lay in the entire straight. I think if he had have run straight, he would have gone very close to winning this race. He would have gone very close to winning the Creswick against Right to Party if he had a run straight as well. My theory with this horse, he's been outside of horses last two. He's had to draw wide, and he's just been looking for the rail. One of his only recent wins has been in Sydney. He's done a fair bit of racing up there, and he's come back to Melbourne and seemed to have a tendency to lay in. So I think drawn barrier 2 here. There's a fair chance he just might find what he's looking for, get on the rail. It's probably going to be a good place to be on Saturday. From what I've heard so far, I don't think it's going to be on fire, but I think you want to be somewhere near it. Getting back from way back in the field might be tough to make ground. So he's drawn barrier 2 here in a race that has some genuine tempo. So I don't think he's going to lead, but I think Mick D can probably put him, say, 2 pairs back the fence or even in the coffin, as TK says, which maybe not the greatest place to be at Moonee Valley. But I think this horse is looking for that sort of scenario where he has some other horses around him where he can't sort of get up to his usual tricks and he just has to race a bit more genuine. So he's a horse with good talent. Like I said, 2 starts ago, he probably should have beat Right to Party if he went straight. She come out and won the Ori Star. And this race, it's another race where there's not a race where there's a whole lot of horses going anywhere. They're of this level. And if he can sort of iron out a few of his traits, he may be one that can get to a better level. So very consistent recently. And B Shin's flying, and there's usually not too many positives when he goes off. But I think Mick D might really suit this horse.
Suit it, yeah.
He's just strong rider with both hands with the whip. Very balanced jockey. I think he just might get the best out of him.
Yeah, I thought it was the starting point, Nico, and you've covered a lot of the reasons for it. Definitely the plus map. So I remember when it won its maiden, I liked it when it's won at maiden. So Yarra Glen, it bounced on the bunny. I think it had a leader, set outside the leader, so it's got the early toe to be there. Then the day at Rose Hill at the end of last prep when it beat the Black Cloud, drew 4, raced on pace.
Yeah, but the Black Cloud and Steffi Magnetica.
Yeah, beat them, yeah. So then comes, and it's had 4 runs in a row down the straight, and the last 2 from barrier 10, it's had to go back. And then it went back from barrier 10 the other day at Caulfield. But so it's in good form, I reckon. Yeah, the plus map, we always love the plus mappers as a starting point, aren't they? So
it's a bit of D-Day. I think he's got to show. He's got to show back to his best.
See, but he's two in 6 placings from 12, I think it is, isn't it? But it'd be nice to get another win up, but that looks a good race for it to notch another win.
Handy. Only got 54 kilos, so we'll get every chance from barrier 2. Moonee Valley race 9, number 15, Wallenda. So that could be a last leg anchor job and get him rolling for a good result. Puntingform.com.au is a major sponsor of the show. They've got a new AI ratings tool. Everyone's sort of rolling out the AI now and trying it, but definitely worth a look. So you can do faster form, which is what we love to do, and it's the best possible step to transition to a full-time punter. If you use a product like Punting Form, you can match your tape watching skills and check the data to make sure your eyes aren't fibbing, and we're all big fans of their work. Walt, up in Sydney, aside from the big premiere tomorrow at the Inquiry, they are racing on Saturday at Randwick, and
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a soft 6 at the moment. There's a few showers around, so I've got to keep an eye because showers can mean 20 mil or nothing. Sort of set up for a 5 or a 6, and should be a fairly reasonably fair track. You can do the
Outstanding.
race 6.
Let's have a look at Randwick race 6 then. Let's see your first best bet comes, and it's the James Squires benchmark 78. Walt loves playing around the edges here. High to buy is the favourite, $3.30. John Queer, $6.50. It was also nominated for the Missile Stakes, but they're going this way, it looks like. Tulsi is $6.50. Ningaloo Star, $7.50. Cozy Corner, $8.50. Lonrioli, $9. And Acapella Sun at $12. Replay we're going to have a look at is the favourite, High Dubai. T. Clark, Seamar, good combo. 1-1 at Canterbury yesterday in a bit of a boat race. But here is High Dubai going to the outside fence.
Yeah, so sat wide just off speed, which was, obviously not too bad this day when, a couple of those ones stuck to the inside. You said that was a slow lane. So you could get to the outside section. Cozy Corner is the horse inside him, which he's in this race again on Saturday. And I just thought High Dubai was, stronger late, obviously potentially maybe in the better part. But this race here, he'll just land on speed, whereas he sort of had to work a little bit there. And Cozy Corner's drawn 11, probably going to be back in wide. So it's a bit by default, this one. Junqueira I thought was pretty plain. Last time I don't think it's going as well as it can and loses the senior, gets the junior burger rider. Really does need to improve. Ningaloo Star sort of beaten up, wins, then pulls up lame, then bolts, then goes back and up in trip. It's sort of surely got to come to the end of it. The only horse that's a bit of a query run is this Tulsi first start for Matt Dale. He brought it to town to trial, which is not usual for him. Sometimes he comes in, I think they have a lot of jump outs down Goulburn Way, so he can either jump them out or trials them down there. So he must have some sort of solid opinion of this horse, and it trialled well. J-Mac on is sort of unusual for Matt Dale too, first up. So a bit of intent there may be worth saving on Tulsi, especially if they're running on, because I think it'll sort of get back and come with a run. But the rest of them you could kind of, I just sort of found a lot against most of the other runners in High Dubai, just on the up, in the right spot. Extra 100 metres, no trouble. I just can't see how it doesn't run really well.
It's a good friend of the show's got a share in Cozy Corner. How do I tell him to bet with that one at $8.50? Price point versus High Dubai. Got to say it's in the race.
Yeah, it's probably a 1x4 sort of operation. He's going to need a lot of luck from that draw unless he sort of somehow pokes across early and finds a position, which is probably unlikely. He's just going to have a lot against him from there unless it's down the outside fence again, which it shouldn't be.
Well, we haven't got this on the run sheet, but the Missile Stakes, you've got Swartz, 2.15, Top Sport, Arctic Glamour, Samillion, She's and Lister, Kabling, much better. Bit of a heartbreaker for you and the boys in the chat. And me, $20 got nailed. Lock Eagle first up, looks deadly. And then you got the Face and Banju. I was surprised the bookies put up $2.
40 this horse, short or long?
Oh, I thought it was pretty well found at 205.
Yeah, it's a weird horse. It sort of got gifted that race at Hawkesbury when it won. Hasn't done a lot for me to be a dominant sort of horse here. It just does. It feels like an afterthought. And like Lock Eagle, I wanted to find it. It's really well in. It probably needs him about 4 kilos better at the weights than it should, Lock Eagle, but it trialled like a dromedary. There's a lot of speed in this race. Like Banjus can go forward. The Face is a leader. Steel City, I think, has got blinkers on. It'll be not too far away. Much better. Honestly, it'll be pushing forward. Kabling won't be. There's a million definitely comes across with much better. So they should go quick. I went looking for Arctic Glamour because maybe they've set it for this race. Group
Bounce
2.
back factor.
Yeah, Group 2 a win would look good on her resume, but her trials were okay. She's drawn well. She's probably the horse I could find by default. She's an A-lister, was the Tommy Special up the inside the other day. So it's worth it's a kitchen sink job. Maybe Bjorn set her for this race. Third up, 1200, gate 2. She's the other horse. So the two mares are probably the ones I'd want to back just through intent. It just looks a really good race for the trainers to target, where Schwartz, I doubt, is wound up, ready to go. So, yeah, I'd probably default to the two mares, hoping they can just camp just behind them and finish strong.
That said, they do send stallions to start if they win a Group 2, and he's still got his canister, Schwartz. So
yeah, no comment. Yeah, I'll start Jesus Christ.
Any lean there, Nico? You sometimes dabble in some of these little contests.
Yeah, I did see Schwartz's trial, and he did smash Mumbai Muse and Southport Tycoon. My only thought would be, if you're going to be keen on him this race, is if you think they're just setting for a complete sprint campaign, maybe to try get him into an Everest or a race like that. Because the trial was that of a very sharp sprinter, not a 1,400 metre horse. That was probably my angle, but I don't know if I want to back him at even money. There doesn't seem a lot of meat on the bone there, but in saying that, when you're looking at Arctic Glamour, who looks like a complete miler, to try and beat him at 1,200, it's probably a reflection of the race, isn't it? You got to really try to find an angle to really get him beat.
And he's drawn 10 too, and like you said, even if they got intent, he's got those two fast horses directly under him. So he tries to slot him behind, but then you got, it only takes Timmy on Steel City to kick up, and he's 3 wide the trip. And yeah, it's a bit messy. Obviously, you got James on it, but it's a bit of a weird little race.
She was a bit below par too last prep, so she'd want to change the tune a little bit. Arctic Glamour, yeah, a little bit disappointing. I sort of had an earmark to do bigger and better things, and just didn't quite hit the level. So it'd be fascinating betting. Contest that one and see who prevails. Race 10 is the next to your best bets here, Walt. It's the Highland Race Colours Benchmark 78, 1,200 metres. Willadlo is $3.10, and you got Wallenda, dual nominated here. C. Schofield, C. Ma, $4.60. Then you got Ironman $5, World Alliance $7.50, King of Naples $8.50, Sessions Road $13, and then you got Cloudland and Union Army, Calago, all much better. Horse you like here is Ironman, Walt. T. Schiller, Darwin Cup winning jockey, and here it is in the green with the yellow cap just on the outside here.
The Ramsey colours down the outside. So, yeah, just pretty similar field. Willowdale was first up. I thought it's more of a sort of 1,400 metre horse, not staying at 1,200. So it does look like it'll roll forward and get a similar run, Willowdale, but Ironman was really dominant here for mine, and I don't think it was really helpful to be sort of running on. I think Willowdale certainly had its chance. It was sort of up and you wanted to be not too far and maybe get a couple off. So I think Willowdale, even though it went a little bit fast there, can be improved, certainly had its chance, and I don't see it as a horse that's sort of going to improve enough over 1,200 again to turn the table. So perfect draw for Ironman again, a little bit by default, and should land in a similar spot, maybe even a pair closer. I find it hard to see King of Naples turning the tables, even with the blinkers going on. World Alliance has drawn the 1, so it's probably going to be 3 back the fence, and it's a horse with a bit of a flat spot that takes a while to warm up, so it needs everything to go its way to improve. And then, again, Wallenda's the danger, but I do notice that it's still stabled at Cranbourne at the moment, so they'd have to sort of whip it up here pretty quick, not to Sydney anyway, pretty quick. So I'd be surprised if it didn't run in Melbourne, to be honest, Wallenda, but I think it's the clear danger if it does, because it'll be in a similar spot to Ironman and is the fresh blood. I couldn't build a case for anything else in the race to beat Ironman, and he was a gap between runs there too, so he could potentially bounce off that and be even better again. He goes on all ground, soft or dry. So, Ironman just looked a bit of a no-brainer. And the query is if Willunda shows up, then it's probably the one I'd be chopping out on in the race.
No, hopefully you boys do the greasy pig, both ends. Hope you get Willanda to stay down at Moonee Valley, and then hopefully you get the best of the bookies up in Rambit Race 10. So if anyone's listening from Kira Mar Stables, please just do the right thing and send the horses the right ways to make our betting life easier. So Ironman in the last for Walt. So that's race 10, number 7, T. Schiller, Ed O'Rourke. So fingers crossed he can get the job done. Racingwatch.com.au is where you can find Walt 24/7. He's a vampire and he just never sleeps. So if you want 7 days of Sydney racing and provincial and country racing in New South Wales, racingwatch.com.au is definitely the place to be. So make sure you check that one out. Adelaide on Saturday is where I'm going to dip my toe back into the water here, and it's the Bohema Stakes, the formerly known Spring Stakes, and the market is as follows. I think we previewed this race last year, and See You in Heaven was the tip, and it got the chocolates, and it's favourite again here, $2.90, second and $5.50, Chicago Storm $7, Caracasoo is $8, and you got Bugnish at $8, Air Assault $10, Episodic is $10, and Dubai Poet $17. Much better than the rest. Going to have a look at a couple of trials here. The first one is See You in Heaven. And you can see her in the jolly colours here. It was over 1,000 metres. They all trialled on the same day. The Adelaide horses here. It was the 1st of August. And she can sort of do this in some of her trials, but did have to shake her up a bit. And so probably wasn't the strongest field of triallers. So questionable the horses that she was running around against, but the jockey sort of had to wake her up here and give her a bit of a slap down the shoulder and really sort of get into her. And by contrast, in trials, the next trial you're going to see is Dubai Poet, and it's having its first start for Michael Hickmott, and it's in the white here, and it's an 800-metre trial, and he's just out in front there, number 3, got the white colours, and I thought he was pretty spot on. The horse to his outside is Taunting in the other Hickmott stable colours, and I thought his work here was pretty good in a little bit of a pipe opener. So you got Dubai Poet sitting there with a brand new stable, $17. You can see how much stable change can do for a horse. Walt was kicking himself. I don't know if you backed it. Mautai for Peter Moody was an absolute beauty up the Flemington Straight.
I know that. Oh my God.
Don't know if Nico caught any of that one, but Jesus Christ, what a missed opportunity that was. And then the horse that...
This was a big win.
Yeah. So I'm saying back Dubai Poet first up and be wary any money from the Hickmott stable. But the horse I like here is second to none. It's back on the fence in the white and the maroon colours. And it only really gets shaken up sort of the last 300 metres. And it sort of swerves its way through the field. And that's Caracasoo out in front. And it just grows wings late, this horse. And the good thing is, Kayla sticks with it. It's drawn barrier 5, and See You in Heaven and Dubai Poet are sort of the new form lines that come into the race and are capable of taking out the race, no doubt. But from a value point of view, and if the track stays in the soft range, which it currently is, they did get a bit of rain there today, being Thursday, that's right up second to none's alley. And I think she just does go a lot better with the edge taken off the track. So if it dries out to, say, a good 4, I'm probably less confident. But at around the $5.50, $6, $6.50 mark, 56.5 kilos, I think she gets in really well. And sort of looking at other horses in the race, a horse like Chicago Storm's probably better than her over a mile, but this is a 1,200-metre race. Caracasoo, there's a lot of horses that are going to go forward here. But I thought she was just pretty much an auto bet after watching her sort of first up, and she might just have a little bit of a fitness edge on a couple of these other horses that are just sort of kicking off their campaign. So I thought she'd be stalking in a dangerous position, and she did get a little bit held up there on the turn too. So Kayla can put this this mare into the race a little bit more early and just be not as far away and hopefully not a weaving run. So I think there's a massive chance, and I'm glad that you saw it too, Nico.
Yeah, I was just sitting at home watching that race, and I remember they were saying on the coverage, I think John Carlton might have a share in her or bred her or something, and they said that the trial leading in, she went super, and then she did that first start where she just attacked the line. Caracasoo is a good benchmark. Air Assault's an interesting runner. They got him in the Caulfield Cup and the Cox Plate. I saw him in the Noms. So for mine, he was a horse when I saw him back in the spring that just looked like he'd probably be a better 4-year-old. He didn't seem to have the sort of strength and size of a few of the other runners. Don't know if he'll be effective here first up and looking through. Doesn't seem like he's had a trial, so he might just be there for a hit out, but he might be interesting to watch for further. But yeah, second to none was a huge win last night. She's a bit hit and miss, but if she replicates that again, you'd think it's probably her race to lose.
Similar to what you're saying about that other horse, Nico, I think it was Schwartz. I think if they're going to keep her around this 1,100, 1,200 metre range, I think she can be deadly. So I think 1,600 might be a bridge too far for her. So if they keep the speed in her legs, I think she's definitely the one to beat.
I will say with See You in Heaven, when she hit the front in that trial, blinkers on, she definitely just got lost. Like she just completely clocked off. You can see the way she sort of hits the front, her mannerisms, her ears go straight up in the air. She definitely just clocked off as soon as she hit the lead. So wouldn't read too much into the trial there. Maybe she might need, this run from a fitness point of view, given she didn't do a whole lot late, but I don't think it wasn't like she was going poorly and had nothing left to offer. She just didn't really attack the line after hitting the front with nothing to chase.
Be interested to see what the market does. $3.10 for me seems definitely short enough. But I'm not completely against her, but I thought that was a better way to play the race with Dubai Poet around the $17 mark and second none. So I'm happy to Dutch those. And hopefully they're good enough and she hasn't got the class edge over those two. So that's how I'll be betting for that one. But she's it's an absolute beauty and pretty consistent horse in heaven. So hopefully for her backers, she hasn't trained off or wants to be a mother. Donny's Best is headed up towards the Sunshine Coast with Eagle Farm on the blocks and Doomba needing a bit of a rest. But let's see what he's got.
Welcome back. Donny's Best this weekend comes up at Sunny Coast. Race 1, the 3-year-old, the fresh 3-year-olds, is race 1, number 4, Cosmo Centurious. Had 4 trials, looks very sharp in all trials. It's got early speed and it can finish strong late. Gave him a good shake up the last start. Looks the one to beat. Good luck.
Beautiful. So we've
Holy
got,
shit.
but that was loud, wasn't it?
Holy shit.
I don't know what he's had for brekkie, but I want some of it. So Sunshine Coast race 1, number 4, Cosmo Centurious, Uncle Robbie Heathcote, and Bailey Wheeler, who's starting to ride like a fair few winners.
He couldn't. Race 1, he had to go. He just had to go to race straight to race 1. He
Race
can't
1,
wait.
number
He's a 10:30 in the morning punter, isn't he?
That's his wheelhouse, though, isn't it? Those 1,000-metre zippy little.
Have a go at it. Full of first starters and everything. He's a sick man. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely on fire, Donny. So it's good to see him back. Top Sports Steam. Let's have a look at the first bet. This is 1,500, race 8, number 3, Schwartz, 1,500 205.
Holy cow.
So someone's backed it, maybe by default, nothing in the race. So good luck to them. Already at 215.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't
someone's
that
very
crazy?
excited
Good
there.
luck to him.
The Valley, race 6, number 12, Big Me, 500 at 420.
Just BZ.
Ex-Hong Kong horse, Monkey On. Yeah, the boys have found one here.
Monkey.
I think it was a pretty good run last start.
Very good run.
I think you actually, Nico, for the syndicate, you tipped the winner at
Moonhaven.
950 that knocked it off.
Yeah, he was just a
God
good
bless
straight
it.
track horse, Moonhaven. Just really good straight line speed. He's in at the Valley on Saturday as well, so I don't know if that would be his track, but this horse,
It's in Sydney as well, Moonhaven.
yeah, Randwick probably more his go. This horse just gassed out a bit late. He probably looked the winner at some part in the straight, and then gassed out a bit, got beaten for second just on the line, but it looks like his race to lose on Saturday. I was sort of surprised he wasn't shorter first up, and again, surprised he's probably not shorter on Saturday, given there's a bit of a boom around him. I could see him starting much shorter than 420.
Already at a 360. So Jay Mott, one of DK's men, good rider. So fingers
Very
crossed
good
he
rider, Joe Mott.
fingers crossed he can get the job done.
And he did have a
for,
little gallop there during the week that I saw, and he looked absolutely
At
fly.
Mooney Valley.
So that's a tick for him.
Beautiful. Well, chips in Big Me. Next one is Morpheville race 4, number 2, Merchant Boss. I'm a little bit behind still, and I haven't got this far. So this is an interesting one for Travis Dowdle, very good trainer, and then B Price. So nothing jumping off the page at me when I first have a look at that field, but I'm a fair way behind in tapes, which is one of the beauties about taking a holiday. It's so hard to catch back up, as DK and Walt obviously know. It's I wouldn't say it's a privilege.
Just don't do them.
Pardon?
Just don't have them.
Just don't do them.
No.
No.
No,
Just
just punish the
rule a
family.
line
If I'm
through
going to give my life's ruined, so's theirs.
Oh, shit. Anyway, good horses are starting to slowly trickle back, and it should only get easier from here. But a couple of big steamers there, and I think that's nearly the guts of the show. Any final thoughts or comments down there out of Melbourne town?
Oh, yeah, big preliminary final this weekend for my little under-12 team. So we had the Against the Odds win last weekend, and my little Rover won the comp best and fairest last night. So that's a good start for the week. So give us strength on Sunday against West Coburg, Avondale Heights under-12s. We're trying to get into a granny. What are you, Nico? All done footy-wise?
Yeah, we're all finished. So back to the races on Saturday, and cheer home the mighty Lotterock. Hopefully, he can
Oh, Lotterock, yeah.
get us into a result there. He was going to go to Adelaide, but we've had I think Dad's ended up in hospital this morning, so I don't know if
Oh,
he's
really?
going to be. No, he's all good. Don't know if he's going to be making the trip over, so he'll probably be at the Valley. So we might need a few things in our favour, but be bloody good if he was to win there. That'd be unreal. So give him a cheer, punters.
I just see old mate passed away. Democracy Manifest. Jack Carlson. He was just come through this morning. That one of the guys showed my missus that footage the other way because she was wondering what I said. Watch this, and then the succulent Chinese meal lunch. She goes, "Oh, how good's that? Watch it again." So yes, one of the great ones. He passed away, Jack, this morning or last night. So Democracy Manifest.
Too much of it going around. Hopefully, the old man bounces back, Nico, and hopefully everyone has a big fill up and gets a win over the bookies. So it'd be nice to chip up and build a bit of a bank before we get into the depths of spring. So Caulfield Cup, Melbourne Cup nominations have just started to trickle out. Be careful if you're starting to bet into them. There's a long, long way to go. So no need to be diving in that short stuff. Hey?
The old Twitter goes nuts for it, doesn't it?
Doesn't
the old
it?
futures, isn't it? Yeah, it's just...
I just can't believe it. It's like I've got every winner. I've got the Cox Plate winner at $4. I've got this and that $6.
Then they draw 15 of 15 on the day.
Oh!
There you go.
Oh, we'll not get there. Yeah, it's just like everyone has horses they're tracking on, but trying to work out all these races, like it's just
have a big deep breath.
Yeah, just relax.
Outstanding. All right. Hopefully we found you guys a couple of winners and happy punting, and we'll see you next week. Make sure you watch the inquiry tomorrow. Could be the biggest day in New South Wales racing for the last decade, I would have thought. It's unmissable TV, and we'll talk a little bit about it at the start of next week's show. Could be a beauty. See you guys.